was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to Under Two Capes. I'm Jared, and I'm here with Robert. What's up, man?
Yo, what up?
And today, Robert suggested the perfect topic for Under Two Capes. It's like, you nailed it, brother. Are sidekicks really needed?
Or relevant?
Or relevant? And Cameron will start us off. He goes, hey, guys, and let me just answer this question right away, only if you're Batman. Well, that we'll talk about that for sure. So let's start off by talking about the history of the sidekick and why it came about. Because back in the day, like the golden age, sidekicks were created because the comic audience was primarily kids at the time, and kids wanted like essentially a gateway character that they could like see themselves hanging out with Batman per se.
Yeah, or they wanted the character to tone back a character that was getting grittier, like why Robin was brought in for Batman.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like so Robert, first define a sidekick.
A sidekick, the definition of a sidekick is a side character, introduced. They don't have much of agenda. They usually just stand there, help out the hero, but don't contribute that much to the story. Or if they do, it's still a case where they're still secondary to the main character, the main hero.
Exactly. And then NJ says, then they need only Shazam and a kid here. Well, Shazam has never been a sidekick. That's
not even the Shazam family have been sidekicks. They've been partners the whole time.
At least on DC side, Marvel didn't do sidekicks, and we'll get to that because there's a very specific thing for that. So sidekicks started to get some heat because when the book Seduction of the Innocent came out, there was the implication, because one of Wortham's claims in the book, because Batman and Robin lived together unchaperoned, they must be homosexuals.
Especially when you saw them in the same bedroom. They were separate beds, but still.
Or like there was a like panel of like them getting massages right next to each other. So I'm like, oh, God damn it, dude. But that's where that came from. That's also where the comics code came from. And that could be a whole podcast episode in and of itself.
You know that Wortham didn't want the comics code to exist, right?
Well, too late. It led to it. But
in fact, the comics code was created to kill off EC Comics. But the problem was the person put in charge of the comics code. They didn't. DC and Marvel and Archie, Deborah, they just put it there thinking like this will shut people up. The person put in charge actually believed in the cause.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. Yeah, so we'll talk about that. So then we get and
now we also have ones like Bucky. Basically, Bucky and Cap were one of the earliest, and Batman and Robin were some of the earliest examples, and then everyone would have a knockoff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Bucky is like one of the few times Marvel's actually done these side.
But that was before. That was before we had proper Marvel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is very true. And then so Stan Lee would do the first step in getting rid of sidekicks with the creation of Spider-Man.
Because he hated sidekicks. He hated the idea of it. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. And Dave brings up this exact point. Great job, man. But it's like that's the point, because Stan's intention was, he goes, because he was like, it's like, hey, kids can be heroes too. So that's why he made Spider-Man like a teenager and stuff. And that obviously blew up.
And technically, Johnny was also one of the first.
Johnny Storm?
Yeah. He was a teenager.
But exactly.
But he wasn't the lead headline character.
Yeah, exactly. Well, even though he still contributed, because it's still Stan Lee. So it's like Stan took the first steps in getting rid of the sidekicks. Now, the sidekick would be beaten to death by a crowbar, pun intended, in post-crisis, because Jason Todd's death is really where.
Yeah, he was the last actually written sidekick. Even now, by that point, by the time of his death, they were trying to give him more of his own personality. Because before that, he was just a plank of wood.
Yeah, exactly. And Cameron goes, does X-Men count? No, because they're still like their own heroes.
Exactly. A sidekick is, again, they don't contribute much to the story. Or if they do, it's to get the main character going. Usually being boy hostage or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they have to like free the hostage, if you will.
Yeah, they're either the boy hostage or the third arm.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, so that's the other thing. So I'm like, so there's that.
And the other thing that also helped besides Spidey was the Teen Titans,
Well, yeah,
proving that they could
exactly.
all
That's the
stand on
other
their
point.
own.
Because here's the thing. So Dick Grayson leaves Batman. He's still Robin at this point. I want to be clear on where we are on the timeline, the DC timeline. He and a bunch of the other sidekicks and some other characters like Raven and stuff form the Teen Titans.
Well, year before that, the original Teen Titans were just sidekicks.
Yeah, they were just sidekicks. Then they evolved. And here's the thing. Teen Titans was such a thing. It was competing and sometimes outselling Chris Claremont's X-Men.
Definitely.
I want people to understand how big that was, because the X-Men at the time was like the biggest book in the industry at the time.
Yep. Now exactly. Dave put it best. It was the last nail on how they were traditionally viewed. Because even now, I would say the original Titans were that way too. Because you had Robin, you had Speedy, you had Aqualad, you had Kid Flash, you had technically they first created Wonder Girl. Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
I still love that, how that was an accident.
Yeah, exactly. And NJ says Tim Drake is still no. Tim is not. Damian is.
Damian is. But when you look at Tim now, sometimes there's the thing. Tim was when we went from a sidekick to sidekick archetypal writing, where they're written as a sidekick, but they can stand on their in some scenes when it's called for, but they can stand on their own.
Well, case in point, he had his own book. Once you have your own book, I think, and by NJ, I know he's still called Robin, but it's different compared to Damian. Damian still qualifies as a sidekick. Tim is on the level where he's more of a partner. Even Batman has said, "You're not my sidekick, you're my partner."
Yeah, and yet he had his own minis, that trilogy of minis.
Yeah, exactly. Once you get your own book, whether or not it's a mini, maxi, or ongoing, I think you kind of cease being a sidekick, because sidekicks were also characters that not necessarily could sell their own books.
Now, Damian has since evolved to partner with a sidekick archetypal writing because he got his own mini or ongoing.
Now here's a fun little jab I can give. So technically, since Trinity's book flopped, she's proving my point that sidekicks can't sell their own books.
Argue depends on the book. Now, here's a character that was never a sidekick, but has the sidekick archetypal writing when he's with the main hero, Superboy.
Yeah, exactly. Superboy was, just because he has Superboy in his name or Supergirl or Batgirl, that doesn't make them sidekicks.
Exactly. And again, originally he was the Clark and Superman when he was a boy. But once you had Connor, he was created, yes, as a throwback to the old Superboy, but he's such his own character. Now, again, when he interacts with Superman, he is subservient, hence why I said sidekick archetypal writing.
Yeah, and then Cameron, it's like there were times where he even had his own title called Red Robin, and then Cameron brings up Impulse as well. I think Impulse has also evolved.
Yeah, he has evolved. He was a case of trying to do a Kid Flash without a Kid Flash.
Yeah, the only Flash kid that I think still counts as sidekick is Wallace West.
Because he's never gotten his own title.
Yeah, Wally obviously is Flash. He's evolved. He's done.
You've had the graduation. You've had basically, that's when New Teen Titans started the graduation of the sidekicks.
Yeah, exactly. And plus also he became Flash after Barry died.
Exactly. You had Robin becoming Nightwing. You had Wonder Girl dropping the moniker and just being Donna Troy. You had Aqualad become Tempest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You had Roy and Speedy just become Roy Harper.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Red Arrow sometimes, or other arrows.
And Damian, what was introduced as something of a subversion of the sidekick archetype by Grant Morrison.
To a degree.
And NJ, no, I would not, because they have grown into their own roles in certain scenarios. Like
Cassie started as a sidekick.
He started, but she grew out of that role. They're more of what Robert and I call partners. Partners are different than sidekicks. Partners are like it's not as like demeaning, and they're seen as more equals.
Like Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, Oracle, Batgirl.
Yeah, partners.
Now I'll say Cassie Kane, not Cassie Kane, Betty Kane, Batgirl was a sidekick. Now she's Flamebird and she's her own character. But back in the day with the original, with Cassie Kane, Batwoman, she was a sidekick.
Cameron asks where we put Kara. Partner. Superman, except for like the War World twins and 12-year-old John, he's never had a sidekick.
Yeah, and they brought that up where Superboy. Now, okay, technically Wade gave him one. That was the guy who ended up becoming Magog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but he's
exactly.
He's never properly had a sidekick, and they've always made that reference. Technically, Robin was a sidekick. Because remember when they were Nightwing and Flamebird?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good. I like that.
So technically, Robin has been a sidekick to Superman.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the differentiation. It's like if you're did Diana see Donna as her partner when she was Wonder Girl earlier?
Okay, technically she was created and never written as a sidekick in the Wonder Woman books. But for all intents and purposes, she was treated in Teen Titans as the sidekick.
Yeah, and also remember, she was Donna herself as a separate character was created by accident.
Yeah, because all Bob Haney did was he saw the cover, it's like, oh, there's a Wonder Girl, must be her sidekick. And then it was afterwards like, no, that's her time displaced self. Oh, whoops.
Just can we name her Donna? Okay, great, we'll do that.
Donna instead of Diana. Yep. It wasn't, but yeah.
Says, I still don't believe Barry Allen should have ever returned full-time. Wally as the Flash was one of the most meaningful journeys of any character.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I'd agree, because here's what you have to understand about that period of DC. That's when Jeff Johns had like a ton of pull. He was also bringing back Hal Jordan because, Dave, to your point, there are people that think that like Hal Jordan should never have been brought back. Because you had like all those things. Like, Kyle, none of the Green Lanterns are sidekicks because it's a military unit.
It's a police corps.
It's a police corps. Cadets kind of. Well, here's the thing. Remember, Simon Bass is the only one that's technically a sidekick.
Well, only if you go by the director of Batman Ninja Yakuza.
I had to. Sorry.
Now I would say Teen Lantern is. She's a bit of a hazy ground.
Mm-hmm.
She is a lantern, so she's treated that way, but she is a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does a sidekick need to be a kid? Technically, no. Rick Jones was a sidekick in his early days.
Real quick. What's up, Heat Man?
Flame on. How's everybody doing tonight?
Not too bad. So, yeah, we're talking about sidekicks versus partners.
Okay, that's a very fine line. Are we talking strictly like Golden Silver Age, postmodern?
No,
like, where are we going here?
It's more of a discussion on if sidekicks are like relevant and like where they kind of went out. Because like in post-crisis, that's when the whole idea was like old Yellard, I would argue.
Sorry, go ahead, Jade.
To an extent, but you can make an argument that a partner and a sidekick were kind of misconstrued for the other, especially when you had sidekicks grow into their own.
Yes, exactly.
Example: Captain America and Falcon. Captain America and Bucky, World War II, is the conventional hero sidekick archetype, whereas Captain America and Falcon is more of a partner archetype.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, I think it's always been a partner thing with Falcon. That's the thing. Marvel never really did sidekicks like widespread. That was never really their thing because again they were going for more relatable, and if their audience is more kids and stuff, they want the kids to be able to see themselves as heroes.
Yes, that's what you get to the everyman archetype, and really the only Marvel. I hate to cut you off, Jared. The only real everyman archetype from Marvel that did this successfully, at least on an iconic level, was Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Let's be objective here.
Yeah, but Spider-Boy. or
Alpha.
Now, here's the other thing. Some could say Miles.
Potentially.
Potentially, yes, he is.
Let me put it
That's
this
where I
way.
lead into. That's where I lead to the sidekick archetypal writing, where you have a character who is a partner but is written as a sidekick.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
written
Thank
as
you,
or
Vincent.
treated as a sidekick because he doesn't have his own rogues or his own like area to hang out in.
The
Exactly.
closest he has is like the other two boroughs. Peter is either too busy or can't be, or is too caught up with the Avengers to patrol on a regular basis.
Yeah, and by the way,
Yeah.
NJ, yes, Aqualad was a sidekick when that first started, I believe, right, Robert?
Now, yes. Now, again, what made and Jay Heat, this is what Jared and I were saying. The sidekicks pretty much went out after, with the exception of Batman and Robin, because that's a grandfather. It's the case in with the last character to be written purely as a sidekick was Jason.
True.
At
Tim,
least, yeah.
Tim was more of a partner archetype. I will give you that.
Yeah, now, yeah, exactly. Tim was to be because that now, granted, by the time of Jason's death, they were trying to make him a bit more partner archetypal before they decided to bash his brains in. But yeah, when you really look at it, a sidekick is, I put it this way: either they're the damsel in distress or they're the third arm.
Way to beat a dead horse, Robert.
But
I had to. I'm sorry.
Jay, would you agree with that? A sidekick is usually either window dressing, a damsel, or a third arm.
True. I would.
Don't tell Gail Simone. She'll write another article.
Ah.
I had to.
You've been waiting on that one, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, very much so. I've been waiting for that. As soon as you said, like, damsel, I was like, ooh, I know a joke.
And you know, Dave has a good point. Hal was done dirty.
True.
Yeah, that's
True.
also true. But, Jay, where do you stand on Dave's previous comment about he doesn't believe that Barry should have ever returned full time?
From a pure narrative standpoint, no. Barry, you could get away with Hal because Hal was done dirty in the 90s. Hal coming back in Green Lantern Rebirth, you could have gotten away with. But Barry specifically, he had a good send-off, a titular end of the Silver going to the Bronze Era post-crisis. He had a graceful exit. Bringing Barry Allen back was out of pure nostalgia. Let's call on Jeff John's part. Let's just call it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's also be fair, though. They had a couple failed attempts. They tried to give it to Bart, then they tried to bring Wally back. And the only reason was Mark Waid. And the only reason why that failed is because for whatever reason they thought the artist they had was a good artist choice when he really wasn't.
Mm-hmm. And then,
I'm sorry.
By the way,
mismatches happen more common than you think, especially back in the 90s.
And by Cameron says, I'm going to be that guy until he gets his own rogues and Cassie's a sidekick. I'll give you that. And then Cameron says, Robert just reminded me of the most of Young Justice didn't really become sidekicks. Khan was in Hawaii, Bart with Max, and Tim was doing his own thing, and Cassie was dealing with her own stuff. Yeah, it's like
true.
In Cassie, yeah, go ahead.
Cass and Connor were more partners, which is ironic
exactly.
because they did get together in Teen Titans 03 by Jeff Johns.
Yep.
Wait. Yeah, Cassie started as a sidekick, more so than Con.
She grew to the partner archetype faster than any of the founding five.
Absolutely.
Connor was kind of a lone wolf in Superman's shadow for the longest time.
Now let us also agree to this though. When it actually I had it. Hold on. Oh yeah, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon Batgirl was the first Batman partner.
Yep, she's in Batgirl. Barbara has never been a sidekick,
except for the Batman cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. And by NJ says, who has more fans, Wally or Barry?
Depends on the era we're talking about.
At that point when he was brought back, Wally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because remember, not only did you have all the great Flash books, Justice League Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the Flash in that?
Although funny thing though, he was Wally, but he was given a lot of Barry-isms too.
You know, it's kind of
to
funny.
An extent,
but they did that in the CW too, where he was Barry, but they really gave him Wally stuff.
Yeah, but it's like they always, it's like the perfect character is a balance, like a mixture of the two.
Yes.
Because yeah, like in the cartoon, yes, he's Wally, but they made him a forensic scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't Wally get his powers? He wasn't a forensic scientist, but he replicated the speed experiment, which gave him his powers.
In the comics, yes, but I'm saying in the show,
it was legit.
Verbatim. I'm not refuting that. It's kind of a Jason Tim situation where in the DCAU, Wally was an amalgam of the two.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing when you on that. They did the same thing with Kyle because here's the thing. They wanted to go with the versions of the characters that were in the comics now, like Wally and Kyle. But they wanted to go with the most. Well, here's the thing. In the case of Kyle, they couldn't do the actual Kyle Rayner origin because that would require too much setup. You have to do
Yep.
the Superman. You have to do all the way back to that. So they're like, just give him essentially take the Howl origin and adapt it. So
For Kyle.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like it's the most familiar. And with Wally getting Barry's origin again, it's the most familiar. Struck by lightning and chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
And by so Cameron asked about Duke.
Duke is a middle grade. He's the psychic
Somewhere in the middle.
archetype. He's a psychic archetype.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
he's more of a psychic, really.
Yeah, but I put him under archetype because he's not technically not anyone's sidekick.
Yeah, exactly. And Dave says bringing Barry back was probably the only major thing I've ever disagreed with Jeff Johns on in comics. Yep, it was nothing but pointless nostalgic and loosened his impact as a legend. I agree.
I will say this, though. At least Jeff was making it very clear, and Williamson would especially make it clear that the two are still very different characters.
Yeah, they've kind of adapted that, and it's like at least
It's like sorry.
One at a time, gentlemen.
Sorry.
I'm
sorry.
At least unless you're Tom King, Wally has been treated pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in recent times.
But I was going to say with Barry and with Barry, he generates the Speed Force. Wally mastered it, and he is the fastest of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So like that I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that's the thing. It's there is a point when nostalgia does undermine it. And here's the thing. Jeff Johns, for all of his great strengths and the fact that he could write every character except Wonder Woman, I think the one weakness he has is that he, for lack of a better term, he's a slave to nostalgia.
Yes.
And that helps sometimes when he has to reference stuff or, in Hal Jordan's case, repair a lot of damage. But sometimes that turns into, no, I want it my way because this is the way it was when I was reading comics.
Or it's my idea, like with he's the one who before he retconned Superboy to be a clone of Superman and Lex, he wrote that in a letter.
Yeah, exactly. But Cameron says, I also want to bring up before Adam Glass, we did have other kids that could have become sidekicks, but DC never did anything with them until now. I.e. Jai and E-Ray, or the Warworld twins.
Now, I would say they are definitely psychic. They are definitely psychic in the Flash book. If they're
for all intents and purposes.
Until they get their own book, they are are part of a team book. They are definitely not. Now, wait. What do you mean before Adam Glass? What does he mean by that?
Hold on, Cameron. Okay, I want to bring up. Okay, no, that was more of a rogue renegade team. You know, kind of like, what's a good example? X-Force. That's more of a renegade team. That plays more into like this what's the best way I could use? Except Adam Glass's run was more of a fall from grace story, trying to appease editorial. Adam Glass run was not an ideal story. I have not reread it since, unless I end up incorporating it for New Direction version where I have to reread it. Am I going to say it's Teen Titans New 52 Teen Titans bad? No. Am I going to say it's editorially mandated? Yes. But
yes, what you're reading for April Fool's A-hole.
Again, the worst part about that story is Jin. That is literally the worst part about that story.
I'll say this. The saving grace of that run was Crush.
Thank you.
Crush with the saving grace, and she is neither. Now, again, a spin-off character is completely different. Not all spin-off characters are sidekicks. Look at Crush.
And by the way, NJ wants to know why did Dio hate Lexi Care so much, because his thinking was that it aged it aged like Batman having like Grayson be Nightwing and all that stuff.
It raised a lot of questions.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, all right. I meant Damian's version of the Titans. We had other kids before that run. Remember, besides Jason, every Robin had their own Titans. So that's what I meant.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up, Cameron. Because again, this was during Rebirth where they were trying to, build up some goodwill following the mess that was the New 52 from behind the scenes from a branding standpoint. But yeah, Damian was the Benjamin Percy roster. Thank you, it almost bluffed me. In the Percy run, Damian was the youngest member on that team, but maybe Wallace is the second youngest. Okay, not counting the core three: Starfire, Beast Boy, and a DH Raven, though not by much. Wally was like 15 to 16, and Damian had just turned 13 at the beginning of the Rebirth line proper. So there technically was kids on that roster. Damian and Wallace were effectively the only kids, and they were acting their age for the most part. So, I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, Cameron, but there were kids on that run, on that roster.
Yeah.
John is an honorable mention, even though he never officially became a member after, what was that arc? It debuted Aqualad. What was the name of that arc? I forget. Or was it Super Sons of Tomorrow? I know they were back to back.
Yeah, and then let's talk about Marvel's latest attempt for a sidekick, and that would be like Bailey, as in Spider-Boy.
Bailey, okay, first of all, I don't really count him as recent because he's been a part of not Dan Dio. What's his name? He was Dan
Slott.
Thank you, Robert. He's pretty much been the poster boy of Dan Slott's run, which was very dragged out. The man couldn't be a deadline to save his life over the course of a decade. Like, Bailey is almost as old in real world history as Damian. They technically debuted around the same time.
No, they didn't. Spider-Boy did not get. There was Alpha originally. Bailey, Spider-Boy is way more recent. He's only been like a few years old.
Okay, because I do remember there was another iteration of Spider-Boy and
Alpha.
Oh, that was Alpha? Okay.
Yeah, that was Alpha. Alpha. Completely different character.
And by the way, NJ, yes, Cassie began in the Burn run, and she wore a black wig.
Yep.
At least that's what I remember. And then, I get. Cameron says, I get that. I just did. It's like you had to put them with Damian and Wallace. Oh, okay. And then he says, "Is Bailey dead? Please tell me he's dead." Nope. As far as I know, he's not dead. And then Dave says, it's strange that Jeff Johns created and wrote legacy characters so well and stuff like JSA, but other times he let nostalgia get the better of the duality of man. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I just realized. Jeff Johns created or brought back a lot of sidekicks before he left DC.
He did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the children legacy.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What would be another example of a sidekick? I mean,
sidekick.
Superboy Prime.
That's more of a syndrome, more of a fanboy turned rogue. That's more of a syndrome Flash archetype.
Yeah, I got. There's a difference between a sidekick archetype and a sidekick.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say Spider-Boy is a mixture of sidekick and sidekick archetype. He just happened to have been centured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Where he was the wiped from everyone's minds, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you don't remember Bailey." Let's see who else would count.
Technically, yes, Cameron, but that was more of a fling that grew into a relationship in when the new run took over.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. Would Teen Lantern count as a sidekick?
Yes.
Kinda, sorta.
Because she's not an actual Green Lantern, but she is adjacent to the Green Lanterns.
She's treated as part of the core. She is treated as part of the core.
She's more of a spin-off character, really. Similar to Crush. She's more of a spin-off character.
Oh, when she was introduced, yeah, by now, no, she's one of the core.
All right, and then NJ says John also created Jay Garrick's daughter Julie or July, however.
Which I actually like that Jay Garrick miniseries. It was good.
Yeah, I heard it was good.
It was, and now I think that was more of an Adams creation.
It was more Jeremy Adams. But
I got a legacy. I got a sidekick / legacy character that no one's thinking of. Dr. Manhattan's son Clark. He's
literally a cameo. That's comparing Demon King Piccolo to Junior. Like that's a direct reincarnation.
Hey, can you translate it for the non-anime people?
Okay. Is not considered a child when it's a literal direct reincarnation of yourself.
How do you know it's a reincarnation?
No, yeah, we don't know that because he said. Go ahead,
Robert. Go ahead.
I was just say was technically he's not reincarnation because he is still saying like John called me Clark and all that. He's still coming off like his own separate character.
Yeah, he has his own like personality, and then John air quote died. Would you guys count the New Mutants as a sidekick? No. Again,
no.
There was the X books.
That's spin-off babies.
Yeah, the X books are pretty much all that. And Dave brings up a good point. Does Chucky Baby count as a sidekick?
Oh God, I forgot about Chucky Baby. Good Lord.
No. You know what they're referring to by Chucky Baby?
Yes, I know what they're referring to.
I don't.
That's what Britt calls Lizzie.
Oh.
That's what Britt calls. It's because of that one Nicholas Scott cover where she's holding Lizzie at arm's length and the kid looks like a fake doll.
Okay.
That's what that's a reference to. She confused the hell out of me when we were Super Wonder because I was like, you notice how Lizzie was not in any of the announcements for KO, and then she goes, no, she was there. It's the Annabelle doll. Anyway, but yeah, Lizzie would count because it's like, and here's the thing, it's the same thing as it's interesting. Do the children, do the direct children, as long as they're still children, of the superheroes count as sidekicks?
Yes.
I would imagine so. I mean, more so legacy characters or spin-off characters, but they can play a sidekick.
So long as they're of age, have abilities, or are able to join in the fight, yes. That's why I would say Wally's kids are sidekicks.
Wally's kids are sidekicks. John, when he was a kid, is a sidekick.
I would say Damian and Lizzie does count.
To an extent, but Damian was more of a sidekick for Grayson than he was for Bruce. But
yeah, but we still have the Batman and Robin book going around with Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's
why I say he has graduated since he got his own Robin Son of Batman book. He has since graduated to being a partner.
Yeah, exactly. And NJ, John, whether or not it's contrived or not, has aged up out of being a sidekick. He's evolved, if you will.
Yeah, he is now
a final form.
Yep, he's now. No. That's after Dan Slott gives him the Gohan training.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
That's what Dan Slott compared it to Gohan.
So you're telling me his power level is over 899?
Stop it.
I had to. He's not going to get to 9,000 until he gets the go-ahead training. Is Connor Hawk a partner?
No, Connor Hawk is fully his own.
Yes.
Hawk is the arrow equivalent of Nightwing. Let's keep it a buck.
He served on the Justice League.
Seriously.
Yeah, Connor Hawk. Now, again, Speedy, the last Green Arrow sidekick was the Mia Harper Speedy.
Yeah. Pretty sure Amico Queen was a sidekick for a short period of time.
Very short, but I'm saying in a longer term it was Mia.
Yeah, because here's the thing. That's the other clarification. Once you're a Justice League member, Connor was part of the Grant Morrison 5, so I'm like, you're not a sidekick if you're on the Justice League.
No. He joined up with the recruitment drive.
No, but he was still among that group.
Yeah. All right.
You stop being a sidekick the minute you join the freaking Justice League.
Yep.
So there is that. There is that.
Yeah, again, that's the big thing. That's why we would agree. Teen Titans was the end, closed the door on the sidekicks.
Yeah, exactly. Red Canary's a strange case nowadays. She's supposed to be mentored by Dinah, but she barely interacts with her.
Red Canary, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Royalties and making your own stamp on the brand aside, Red Canary is basically the syndrome archetype, except she has no reason to go crazy.
Except, hang on, would that count as royalties because she's a derivative character? Same reason why Tom King technically does not get royalties for Lizzie.
Pretty sure she debuted in the 700. I don't think Tom King wrote issue 700 where Lizzie debuted.
No,
Yes.
First off, 800, and he wrote the couple of pages where she did debut. She did debut in 800.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the backup story. It was the backup story that was meant to lead in.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up for me.
No, it's all good. We all forget about her. Don't worry about it. But it's like that. That's the point I wanted to bring up with that. But yeah, it's because NJ. The reason for that is because too many. It's like a writer will start a plot line, like I think it was Williamson with that, and then the next writer comes on and just goes, "I don't want to do that." Now, it's not always a guarantee, but still. And then Dave says, it feels like Connor didn't get much to stand on his own before Ollie returned.
Publication-wise, yes. In universe, it was like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it didn't get much. He was on the Justice League. That in and of itself is a big thing. And he saved them from Prometheus! So I'm like, it's not like he didn't do anything.
Exactly.
Though I still say Cry for Justice is the edgiest and worst comic of one of the worst comics I've ever read.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you better have a one of before that worst thing, bro.
Because Cry for Justice was just... I'm surprised that even got an Eisner Award. It was just edgy, hot garbage.
Well, as we know, the Eisners really don't mean anything.
I mean, still.
You know what? That should be his April Fool's Day book.
Simple. It's an edgy, lackluster
story. No, stop it! Stop it! Quiet. Stop it. You can't do it now. Read the book. Read the book later.
I've read the book 3 times for fan requests.
And now it's going to be a fourth time. And because we have to read the book, sir. I have to do more of Tom King's Wonder Woman. I think that's what we picked. Or was that Trinity?
Either or. And Britt's going to have to do Whom Gods Destroy.
Yeah, Jay, we have Britt doing the Chris Claremont Superman Wonder Woman story. You know where they made Diana a Nazi?
Oh, yeah. I forgot that.
She's going to hate me for that. We used to call that comic I'm Gay for Justice.
Hey, just remember.
You did this demonetized.
Jared, just remember. I'm the one having her do it, so but put the blame on me.
Oh, yeah, I'll put the blame. God. Just blame Robert. Well, here's the thing. I was pushing it since before she even did the wedding issue. So it's like technically it was also me.
All right. And you're in the doghouse.
I know. I want Vanessa to be one of the next one. Yeah, she's not going to be a sidekick because she's Silver Swan's at the point where if they do the hero thing. She's done enough, and she's more well known that she'll be more of like the partner role.
Female syndrome. Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. Your excuse. Honestly, unless we're going Young Justice or Teen Titans or any Academy route, I don't see a need for sidekicks nowadays. Yeah, because,
exactly.
Again, back then they were only there for like relatability reasons. Once you get past that, and once the audience like evolves, you don't need a sidekick anymore.
We said this before we started streaming. The sidekick was mostly works when it's a bunch of anthology, self-contained, status quo is God-filled stories. Once you get into the more serialized narrative, they kind of lose meaning because you do want to actually give more characterization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Jay, would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I actually want to play devil's advocate because Titans Academy on paper, it wasn't bad. Now,
yeah.
Did we rely on Red X too much as a selling point? Did we have some necessary evils like trying to tease, like answer the question, tying to the future state stuff and ultimately deviate from that? Ultimately. But if you actually focused more on the kids instead of trying to ride off nostalgia and treat it as essentially another Titans book, it would have done decent. Now, don't get me wrong. The Titans will always be the highlight in the starts of the IP. But if I had to go through Infinite Frontier, if I had to say, I would have done Titans, Infinite Frontier Titans, and I would have done Infinite Frontier Teen Titans Academy, and just split it split the book into 2 separate POVs. Now, would I have gone as far as give Teen Titans Academy a, let's say, Shadow War tie-in? Probably not, because I want to avoid the Adam Glass run as much as conventionally possible.
But Cameron says I'm not talking about Titans again.
I'm just saying that as an example, Cameron, but I appreciate it.
Yeah,
right.
Future Foundation would be a better example for what we're talking about, but Teen Titans Academy was the first came to mind.
Right, and Avengers Academy was also a similar one because those were all again. Teen heroes are not always sidekicks.
They're either partners or solo acts who then get an ensemble later on.
Exactly. That's the other big thing we have to clarify. Like sidekicks are teen or kid heroes, but not all teen kid heroes are sidekicks.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, because again, now like I said, sidekick archetype can be an adult if they're written like a sidekick. Like I'll say this, Nightwing has plenty of times where he's written as both a partner and a sidekick.
Yeah, where should we put Leanne Harper? She's not anything.
Leanne Harper?
She's a kid, right?
Oh no! Now she's Cheshire Cat.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could say, hey, they brought her back from the dead.
I guess so. No, that technically works. I'll give you that.
Yeah, they brought her back in the technically in Ram V's Catwoman, but then she was brought back to the Green Arrow books in the Green Arrow book, the Williamson run. Because that's a character everyone hated her being killed off. You don't kill off a kid.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And where did she get killed off in? Where did she get killed off in?
What?
Cry for Justice.
Looks like Trinity could use a cry for justice. Cameron says, now, what are your opinions on villains having sidekicks or partners? Same rules apply, right?
Yep. I mean, I was this. Technically, Rose was, when she was unbrainwashed, was Slade's sidekick.
Yeah, exactly. Although they were very close. They weren't. They were a little bit more than like sidekick.
I know. I said Rose. Ravager, his daughter.
Oh, Ravager. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tara. No. Tara. I would say partner.
A partner in many different ways.
Yeah.
He's shaking his head in judgment right now.
Okay, villains. They don't really resort to that much. They just have regular henchmen. The only notorious ones that actually went out of their way to have strictly partners they're really more so team ups than partners, but I'll mention them anyway. Are Deathstroke and Terra. I mean, I'm just naming that because it's an example. Deathstroke and Terra.
Deathstroke and Rose.
To an extent, but that's more of a father-daughter team up, and even then, the whole renegade persona and that ended up being a whole thing. That barely lasted a volume. But Deathstroke and Ravager. Are we counting Trigon, Raven's other siblings? Trigon and Raven's other siblings.
So those were just villains.
Okay. All right.
Joker's daughter.
Yeah, and NJ says the difference is the villains will eventually stab their sidekicks and partners in the back. True.
Or their annoyances.
And
Joker
Dave
and
brings up
Harley.
a good point.
The most obvious one, Joker and Harley. God.
Well, yeah, exactly. And Dave brings up an interesting point. Remember when one of Professor Pig's victims became Jason's sidekick?
What happened to her after New 52?
She got shelved.
I have
after
no
New
idea.
52. Scarlet got shelved.
Yeah, most likely.
There might have been one reference to her in the infamous Red Hood and the Outlaws under Loeb. There might have been one reference to her.
Under Loeb?
Not Loeb. What?
There's
the New 52 one with Roy.
Lobdell.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh wait. People like Lobdell's Jason.
The characterization for Jason was good, but the dynamic was no.
Oh, you're right. Red Hood and the Outlaws. That was the better one.
Yes.
You're talking about the original when it was him, Roy, and Starfire.
There you go, Robert.
Okay, you gotta remember there was two different eras.
I'm almost positive. I said check the playback in the comics, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned the New 52 version.
I don't think did he?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, you did? I missed it.
Okay.
It's all good.
But,
all good.
Yeah, but the Rebirth one with Artemis and Bizarro, major improvement all across the board.
That was dope, bro. That's one of the few good Rebirth books.
But
My
yeah, but
only
it,
downside is that
opinion.
Artemis and Bizarre, they didn't even get a proper send off. They just ended up in another dimension and shelved for 2 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like I was saying though, nowadays you don't do psychics anymore. You'll do psychic archetypes, but you'll never ever have a pure psychic ever again.
Yeah, I
Not
would
in the
say so.
traditional original sense of being just window dressing.
I
I
would
mean,
say
there's
so.
a few still running around, like Leanne or Black Canary's adoptive daughter in Birds of Prey. Those are
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting they brought her back.
they did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, Birds of Prey has just fallen. Ever since Green Arrow came back, Birds of Prey just fell off. I understand the fan service, but Birds of Prey had no reason becoming an ongoing. Y'all should have just left it a maxi series. Like
It's over.
it is fallen off. It has fallen off in my mind. I'm glad it's ending, but
Wait. You're dissing Kelly Thompson?
I'm not dissing her. I'm just saying the story is dragged
whoa.
out. Please let me make that clear.
Do not diss our Lord and Savior.
Let me make
She's
this
the only one. She's holding the Wonder Woman fan base together. Excuse me, if if she's having trouble with the birds.
But the bird is the word.
Bird.
Or somewhere. Oh, I thought we were doing the whole thing. Okay.
What do
I'm sorry to throw you under the bus, Jay Heat.
Oh, Miracle Man had the worst sidekick in Alan Moore's comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about Miracle Man. Jesus.
Or you know who was a complete? You know who also had a bad relationship with his sidekick? The Century.
Oh.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a question. Does Stargirl count?
To an extent.
No.
Hear me
Oh,
out.
so let me phrase it. Does Stripesy count as Stargirl's sidekick?
Yes, I would say so.
Thought so.
Definitely say so. Definitely say so.
Yeah, I definitely
In
thought.
light of the show.
Okay, that show was so good, but it didn't have any reason to be.
It didn't have any reason to be that good.
If you go by the concept alone, it should have been god awful, but it was decent. Better than Titans, better than Gotham. Granted, that's not saying much because, dear God, Titans is shit.
Better than Krypton.
Well, Krypton is underrated. Only because of
super good.
It's the live action debut of Brainiac and Lobo. You can't take it away from them.
True.
Yeah, it does Jay's and they nail Lobo and Brainiac. The voice for Brainiac is the definitive live action voice so far for Brainiac. Oh my God. Does Jay's daughter really count?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, she's a sidekick.
So far, she is just a sidekick, just like all those other characters brought back. And I'll be honest, Adams is probably the only one who's going to have any interest in doing anything with them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But like I said, so yeah, I think I have a feeling, are we wrapping things up?
Yeah, we are.
I was saying, so yeah.
Doing a Q&A just to interact with some more.
All right, Q&A, folks. Ask your questions. Cameron says MCU Spider-Man was a second
Iron Boy.
archetype. Iron Boy. He was Iron Boy. That is correct.
He grew into Spider-Man, but he was not Spider-Man from the jump.
Yeah, David Pirro says Stargirl was such a good show. Jeff Johns could do TV, but keep him away from the movies. Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's Aquaman or Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to side with Robert on this one because yes, Jeff Johns is credited, but his influence is varied. Because if you give Jeff Johns full creative reign, he can actually do some good. But too many cooks in the kitchen.
You know, he's Jay Heat. He's going to bring up Wonder Woman 84.
Like I said, just because someone is credited doesn't mean they had a major role or they were secondary.
According to Patty, he had a major role in writing the movie with her.
Yeah.
I was just speaking.
And let's not all forget the Justice League movie that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, that he produced. He did not write. Did he write? Oh no, he wrote the additional scenes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Overall, he has a producer credit, but he did contribute to the reshoots, so it's a little bit of both.
Exactly. So
and he wrote those.
You notice the DCEU movies that he wrote, short of Aquaman and Shazam, ended up being the worst ones.
So we got two of the worst and two of the better ones.
He's a very mixed bag. Like, say what you will about studio interference.
And then NJ says, can we count Cassandra Cain as a sidekick?
No, partner.
Question.
Partner, yeah.
Are we counting DC's Deadpool 2 ripoff, or are we just counting Cassandra Cain in general?
Cassandra Cain in general, not the Harley Quinn sidekick.
We were talking about DCEU. I had to ask. It's an honest question.
I got it. Cameron asked, okay, so here's a big question. How do you do the sidekick in live action? Because you're going to have to hire at least a
Kick-Ass is a perfect example.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yep. But that's the case with a sidekick ended up being the main hero.
Hit Girl is the main hero?
When you really look at it, he's the one who's actually the most competent.
But he does the whole arc.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he goes to the arc, but when you're thinking about the one who's the true, like, able to get stuff done.
I'll give you that.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. That's a good point. If I were to do at least show the sidekick parts, it'd be like in a montage in the beginning of the movie, just to say, hey, like in Brave and the Bold, if I were doing that and I wanted to homage to Grayson's time as Robin, just have like a montage that says Batman, because that's what they can do to show the evolution. You could have like a couple of newspaper like things come
on clip
screen,
show montage.
A montage that shows like Dick Grayson's time, Batman burying Jason. You can recreate the cover of him holding the dead Robin.
Now, here's the thing. Doing sidekicks in the movie, the hard part is no one wants to either shoot or see kids in danger like that.
That's why I say just do it as a montage and then just have everyone else be young adults.
Yeah, why do you think even when they did Batman Forever, they had to have Chris O'Donnell as Robin?
Yeah.
We don't talk about that movie, Robert.
Hey, Forever wasn't that bad.
Hey, Robert, NJ asked the age-old question, why can't Jeff Johns write Wonder Woman well?
We don't know. Unless someone interviews him.
NJ, that's a question that has vexed even the most knowledgeable comic book scholars.
Yeah, 'cause it's so baffling.
Of all, he writes the other Trinity members well. I'm like, what the
Now, granted, his Batman, sometimes you feel like he has a vendetta against them.
Yeah, but
it's not Chip Zdarsky bad, but still.
Well, remember, Diana, you've been many things. You've been a warrior, a diplomat. You've never been human.
She worked at a fast food joint and didn't see it beneath her.
That is I love the way Linkara edited that, because as soon as he read it, it just cuts to his angry face. He's like,
bull crap!
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what the? I'm like, wait, you should know this. You're all about nostalgia.
Did he just ignore the 90s?
I get the thing a lot of creators do. And then Dave says, Jay and Robert, what's your take on the WB sales situation? Ooh. Do you believe this could lead to films going on the back burner for years? Depends on who buys it.
Now, it depends. Yeah, it definitely depends. Do you think Paramount's going to pull off the hostile takeover?
I think.
By the way, it just broke. Universal is now in the running.
I hope it's Universal.
Allegedly. Because Universal
now,
is the first.
They would only be interested in like the streaming part of it, from what I see.
Oh.
Yeah, but they're not going to go for the whole position.
Okay, here's the big thing. Who would you want?
Okay, if we're talking pure optics, if we're counting streaming, theme parks, everything, you want to go with Universal, because Universal collabs with DC and Warner Brothers more than anybody.
Yeah, but what about giving keeping control?
Every time you have a new acquisition, there's always going to be fallout. There's always going to be collateral damage. Heck, even during the Discovery merger, we had 2.5 years of a corporate civil war behind the scenes, which The Rock took advantage of. We're trying to get Black Adam off the ground.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be this Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. Either way, no matter who buys, unless Paramount buys it, there's a good chance that there's going to be a creative shakeup at DC with James Gunn being replaced, because
it's not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed, but there's a good chance, because this happens every single merger. Anyone telling you it's guaranteed not to happen clearly wasn't paying attention the last time we went through this.
Now, anyone saying it's guaranteed going to get the boot and fired and made a disgrace also don't know what they're talking about.
Will there be a restructuring? Will there be a restructuring? Will there be a restructuring? Yes. Because again, the MCU is banking everything on Doomsday. They've been on a relative decline for phases 4 and 5 back to back. Though admittedly, phase 4 was heavily impacted by COVID, so I will give them that.
Now,
but
here's the one change, though. Let's say Paramount does buy them and they keep James Gunn on. I don't think they'll give him as much creative freedom as he has.
No, they're going to
no.
I think he's going. I think if it sells, the age of him being completely independent and not having to answer to anyone, done.
No, someone's gonna have to rein him in.
Now,
what happened to Peacemaker? Someone's gonna have to.
Now, I'll tell you this: I don't think they're gonna do another Ground Zero reboot. I think they're gonna just redirect.
No, they'll probably do a course, go in a new direction. Jahid, they'll probably, honestly.
I think no matter what, anyone buys it, they're not going to relaunch again.
They're going to restructure. They're going to keep with what they have. They'll see what's already in development, what's already in contract. Sorry, Jared, I hate to cut you off.
Yeah.
And then depending on his level of success, they'll move forward with it. Like, first of all, the Batman's in limbo because they're waiting for Matt Reeves' crime saga to wrap up. So they're going to prioritize that above anything else. Man of Tomorrow is already going to be in pre-development since the script is already greenlit. Woman of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, I want to say is in pre-production already, but I could be wrong. And
it comes out next year, yeah.
Yeah, and Clayface. I say Clayface is going to get out of. If there's any of the overall slated, Supergirl might get delayed. And this is worst case scenario. Clayface is going to get dropped. Supergirl alongside Lanterns gets delayed, and the only ones that are consistent for their original release dates is Superman, Man of Tomorrow.
But Clayface has already started production.
I said a worst case scenario because this could easily be a Batgirl situation.
Oh, good point.
Thank you.
Here's what I definitely see happening. They will tell him, can you prioritize the characters that will sell first? Like, get the Batman movie, get the Wonder Woman movie, establish our Justice League, get
organically this time,
like what the MCU did. And then you can move on and do the other characters that you really want to do.
Probably.
And then, there you go. Dave brings up why he couldn't write Wonder Woman. Maybe because he never watched the Linda Carter show growing up and had no nostalgia for the character. He flipped the channel to Battlestar Galactica.
that could be true. That's a possibility.
That's every
5 years.
Here's the thing, though. From what Britt has told me, the sales are back to pre-reboot status, and that's not good. So here's the thing. I would argue we're not at that place yet where they're going to do a hard reboot. Are we close? We could argue that, but we're not at that point where they're going to. Should they? Maybe. Will they? That
remains to be seen.
Utter collapse.
Now, I will say this one thing we agree: no matter who buys it, unless they're really wanting to nickel and dime everything, the comics are going to stay safe.
Yeah, comics are going to be left alone because
they're so
bright side. Yeah,
I was saying they're so low maintenance, so low cost. Everyone keeps on saying they're going to sell it off, they're going to do this, they're going to shut it down. No.
Okay. See, I see that all the time on social media. Quick history lesson, boys and girls. I'll be very quick. What we're seeing right now is a changing of the trends. This is not what you're describing on social media. If you're the ones actually saying this, you're conflating a shift of trends and declining sales to the comics collectors collapse of 1991.
Yes,
different circumstance.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you were saying, Jared?
Yeah, exactly. And again, let me put it to you this way. This is I'm going to give you the scenario of when they do a hard reboot. Are you ready?
Sure.
And Robert, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, or you can tell me we agree with it. When the Absolute Universe flops,
there's a good, strong case.
That's when I think they start considering it. Maybe they don't pull the trigger yet, but that's when
considering your options, yes. Considering your options, yes.
Yeah, let me put it this way. They'll move that. Essentially, what they'll do if they're playing an RPG game is they'll move it to the top of their inventory.
Yes.
They're going to use it, but it means they have it on hand.
I will agree to that.
And then Dave says, and yeah, there is a chance they'll do more Snyderverse stuff to diversify their output. Could be. Here's the thing. Netflix has said that if they buy WB, they're not going to do legacy like content. Now, here's the big question about that. Because we know that does include Snyderverse stuff. Now, again, that could change. Here's the thing. Are the James Gunn movies involved in considered legacy? Because if that's true, then they are gonna not continue anything James Gunn does.
I think what they mean is they would take old IPs and then just reboot them.
Yeah, so they would reboot DC.
I think DC is fresh enough. They might not.
No, but I'm saying, what do they consider a legacy title?
They kept that vague. They kept that vague.
Yeah, it is vague because I'm like, do they mean legacy as in what the old regime has been doing? Because if they do mean that, James Gunn's universe is dead if Netflix buys it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dave says that they keep comics around as an IP farm. That's true. Because they'll always be produced, but they don't give them the attention and editorial care. Yeah, they rely too much on the people running the comics because they're like, you run the comics, I'm not interested.
Yep. Now, to be fair though, DC's handling it a lot better than Marvel as far as creative output.
Oh yeah, and let me put it this way. Again, this is what I always tell Britt whenever she tries to give me the whole Marvel has their stuff together, and I always say. I always say any problem, and Robert, I've said this to you, any problem that DC has editorially, Marvel has it to the largest degree possible.
Yeah, you get sometimes you get lucky and you have like your Hulk or your Thor, but for the most part, editorial keeps on just screwing things up.
Yeah, I got news for you. Marvel editorial is 20 to 30,000 times worse than DC.
Let me put it this way. When you have Doom take over the world, and it's one of the most boring events.
I know. Here's the thing. Unless you're reading like Avengers and Fantastic Four, you never know.
Seriously, it is one of the most dull events.
How is that? How do you screw up Doom taking over the world? How do you make that boring?
Okay, any ideas? Why do you think they screwed it up?
Sorry, I lagged for a second. Doom, I'm just as first of all, I've been fell off Marvel. I keep up here and there, just in case I get fan requested. But Doom Sorcerer Supreme had no business being this boring. Like really seriously. Doesn't. It's like you have a great idea. You have a great idea. You make it this big event to boost up numbers, but you don't map it or think it through.
And then you have to be 9 issues, and then you put in a few months gap.
Exactly. And I'm like, because again, here's my journey with One World Under Doom. I see the concept, and I'm like, here's the sad part about One World Under Doom. You look at the concept. Dr. Doom finally takes over the world. That's an interesting concept. And I'm like, okay, I want to see what this is like. I read it. What? I'm like, Jay Heat has the proper the proper reaction. Because again, unless you're being fantastic, because here's the thing. Something as drastic as Dr. Doom taking over, every book should feel that. It's not like where it's not like my usual complaint with like King in Black, where it's like every book ties in.
Or Secret Empire.
Or that. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, this is when you need to.
Yep, but nope.
And by the way, NJ asked, why wouldn't would Netflix kill the DCU if they buy WB?
Kill the brand, IP farming. Have you seen Netflix's original shows and series the past couple of years? Half of them are hot garbage.
Well, the other thing is, like, here's why they would want to cancel the DCU, because here's why. Because look at the troubling position Discovery was in when they bought WB, where you had all the last third of the DCEU, and they're probably like, look, if we're going to do this, if we're going to own DC, and we're going to have a cinematic universe, and we're going to let's assume they replace James Gunn. We don't want someone else to have to inherit the plans. Let's give it to someone else. Now, if they keep James Gunn, which they very well could, obviously it means the DCU is probably staying, but with some changes.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's a big question to ask. When Netflix gets stop doing theatrical, and would they start doing theatrical releases, or are they going to be like, nope, it's all streaming?
I think they would do both. Here's the other question. Speaking of the comics, if Netflix buys WB and everything, here's the thing. You know who's an executive at Netflix?
Who?
Mark Millar.
I thought he was done at Netflix.
No, he's still as far as I know, he's still an executive there.
Oh.
What if Netflix puts him in charge of DC Comics?
Nah, he wouldn't want it.
I would agree with you on that, but that was an interesting thought. I was like, they do have someone that cares about the comics, or at least Mark Millar could tell them you should care about the IP.
True, but I think Mark Millar is kind of like Robert Kirkman. He's done with the mainstream books.
Okay, yeah. I mean, no, he has said he would come back,
which is more than Kirkman will say. Because I'm sorry, that's still bothering me. Kirkman, when he went to Image, he did that big manifesto where he said the only reason creators do mainstream comics is so they can get in and do their own creator-owned stuff.
Yeah, never mind if you actually love the characters.
That tells me Kirkman never loved the main comic characters. He just did it as work.
Yeah, because again, he's a big Image guy, and that's fine. But it's like, don't downgrade it and stuff. But anyway, and then Doom takes over the world. Mwahaha, I'm going to balance the national debt for several industrialized nations. Bring me my accountant, 12-issue account. Yeah, exactly. It's stuff like that. And I'll go, how about him like take over the world? Maybe there was resistance. It's like the Iron Man book was also kind of interesting, but it's like then it just went on for way.
The only one world on the Doom book I've been getting is the Runaways book, and it was only because it's continuing the Rainbow Railroad run.
Yeah, and NJ, he wouldn't be powerless, but it wouldn't be that like he could do whatever he wants. He would probably have to go to Paramount for authorization to like green light certain movies, like
rather than just answering the Zaslav. He would answer to a committee, but he would still probably be over WB's committees.
Yeah, let me put it this way. He would still be the CEO of DC Studios and the creative head and everything like that. He would just have to, there would just be more people who have to get approval from.
As opposed to just Zaslav.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but that I think is a good place to leave it. But yeah,
yep.
So Jay Heat, where can we find you and what have you got coming out on your channel?
All right, Jay Heat Blaze or Jay Heat 75. I recently promoted on Twitter X. I was starting my Dispatch playthrough. I've heard a lot of good things about the Dispatch game, and I just want to give it a fair shot.
Oh yeah.
But I did want to Jared, if you could pull up the screen share, I do have a poll for you all. Now, I'll have this.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Let me read it. Hold on.
Decide.
What does it say? I can't see it, unfortunately.
Sorry. In my hashtag Dispatch playthrough, would you guys like it to be incorporated into the New Direction version? Simply.
Oh,
that's a great idea, man. Oh wow.
Oh yeah. That's going to be either the UTC or COD topic next week.
Yeah, when we talk about Dispatch as a whole thing, but yeah, that's a great idea.
Because it has been so good.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, the end of I won't spoil it, but the end of the recent episode. Good Lord, the feels.
Yeah, exactly. So now Jay Heat, let me ask you: Do you think you're gonna be a blonde blazer kind of guy?
I
or
won't
is
know
it
until I play. You'll have to check out the video when I start.
Okay. Now,
Team Blonde Blazer.
Now, Jay Heat, it may determine whether or not we remain friends.
Ah!
I'm only kidding. But Robert, how about you, my brother?
You got a link down below. I'm actually going to be doing my dispatch stream as soon as we're done.
Hell yeah.
So I'll be going over episode 2.
Yep.
I'm doing a stream on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. But also I've gotten more Pro Teachers Noobs. Keep checking those out.
Hell yeah. As for me, so obviously CLD tomorrow for your regular news stuff, and actually I'll be on the vodka stream tomorrow with Dave the Film Junkie. I'll also be having Andrew the Caffeinated Wolf from the Ripperverse on the show tomorrow to like hang out and talk comics, and Britt and I are gonna be talking about Supreme on the Super Wonder show and Movie Nights Black Adam, and then again on Sunday.
Oh, you also forgot Heroes New Direction versus Heroes in Crisis next week.
Yes, exactly. And on Sunday, I'm going to be going through every issue of Tom King's Wonder Woman era and talking about the many failures.
You mean up until now? Up
until now. I'm doing every issue up until now.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and this includes Trinity and the Trinity special.
Oh. Yeah, you got the other one shot doesn't count because that's just a collection.
Yeah, it's like it has like 3 things of like news stories, but let me put it this way. I'll see if I can get to it, but the point is I'm doing everything associated with his error because I'm going to point out every single error, and I'm going to remind people that Trinity punched her mom in the face and Diana Muslim. But anyway, so that's where I am going to leave it.
One last thing, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Jared, if you can copy and paste the link.
Yeah.
Basically, this is directly on my post or community tab. You're more than welcome to vote if you take the time. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then, but in the meantime, the dispatch video. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe. Flame off.
Yeah, we will see you guys later. Lois Lane is Lois Lame, and Steve Trevor belongs in a hydraulic press. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.